Hi, everybody. Welcome. You are seeing us quite a bit differently than how you usually do, but that's just because we are committed to making sure that we can get you guys an episode every week, and we want to make sure that we can, accommodate different styles of recording in order to make this possible. So we're glad to have you all here with us. We're here with Gracie Key today. She is a big part of our team at Kansas City Fashion Week, and she has been hard at work planning the Kansas City Fashion Week gallery that is going to be coming up this Sunday.
Yeah, well,
Everybody.
Shaley, thanks for the introduction. And Gracie, it's been something that we've been talking about for a while to get you on, and no better time to bring the Starship Enterprise or the brain behind the Kansas City Fashion Week Gallery to the seat and get to interview you and pick your brain a little bit about what the inspiration was and what we're going to be looking at. So, Gracie, if you don't mind, will you give us a little bit of background about yourself, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on today. I'm very excited. I've been dying to talk about the gallery and share more about it. Yeah, thank you. About myself, I am a fashion designer, and that has been my background. That's been my dream actually since I was a little girl. So that has been my path. And I actually went to school at Kansas State University, and I got my degree in fashion design, and I minored in art. So with those two passions, I have always held an interest in doing a gallery like project. I've seen brands like Alice and Olivia, which is one of my all-time personal inspirations. They do New York Fashion Week galleries. And so that's kind of where the idea originally stemmed from. And then, of course, we can get into later about how all of it came to fruition. But yeah, the background about me, I'm a fashion designer and I love art. I love supporting the community. So I came into the Kansas City Fashion Week family. Oh gosh, it feels like forever ago, but I started as an intern back in, I believe, 2019. And yeah, 2019. So I started as an intern and I just kind of helped produce the shows. It was right moving into our COVID shows. So it was mostly video that I was assisting with in the production of those runway shows. And then from there, I moved on to kind of just helping the designers, assisting in any way I can during the week of shows. And then as I continued to work with Tisha and with the whole team, we kind of together figured out that I had a knack for not only working with the designers, but also planning and coordinating events. So now I moved into the role as event manager. And Tisha and I got to go to New York Fashion Week and see a gallery like situation. And so from there, we kind of decided that this would be my main project. And so now I do help with all of the events associated with Fashion Week, but my primary project is the gallery. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of background of where I came from and how I got to where I am now with Kansas City Fashion Week. And I'm really excited to see where we go next with the gallery as well.
Awesome. So walk our audience a little bit through, like, they can imagine a runway show, even if they've been to one in real life or not. But how is a gallery different than what you would typically expect at a runway show?
So with a runway show, it is models walking in front of you, and you really kind of have that 1 minute that the model takes to see the look walk down the runway. They pose for the cameras, and then they walk back. And traditionally, a runway show, the models do not look at the audience. In some cases, they do, but traditionally they do not. They kind of interact with just themselves on the runway and the photographers. So the audience is really there as observers to see it kind of from a place where they're set back a little bit more. And with the gallery, this kind of breaks down that wall and it allows the consumers to interact with the pieces in a totally immersive way. So they see the clothes up front, like literally right in front of their faces, and they can get close to them and see what the garments look like when they move. And it's a much slower pace. So the models, instead of moving like they're walking down the runway, they are actually stationary in these gallery-like setups. So they're in an environment that's decorated to look like that specific collection. So it almost looks like a house built for this for this collection. You know, all the colors of the walls are like similar, the decorations are similar, and it looks like they were meant to be in that area. So that's a bit different than a runway show as well. Typically the vibe of a runway show is just there's a runway, there's a beautiful backdrop, but it's kind of meant to be a little bit more generic. And with the gallery, everything is specified for that particular collection. So it really allows the consumer to feel the emotions of the collection, to kind of get inside the designer's brain a little bit more and see the creative direction that went behind the scenes of making that collection. And like I mentioned, just really see the clothes up close and personal. The models will be stationary in front of them and kind of posing just at their leisure, kind of interacting as they would in a photo shoot, or just kind of sitting there in the clothes, walking around, kind of just interacting in a totally different manner than runway shows that are a little bit more serious. So yeah, the models are just a little bit more relaxed, and they allow the consumer to really experience the clothes in a new light. And I feel like personally, it allows the consumer to also connect with that brand in a more in-depth way, because it kind of removes the, it just makes the people a little bit more closer to what's happening with the brand, what's happening with the clothes, and it makes it feel more real. It makes it feel like, oh, I can own that because, you know, I'm experiencing people wearing them and interacting in these clothes just in a normal setting, right in front of my eyes. So I would say that the biggest difference is, of course, the format. They're not walking down a runway. They're standing in front of you kind of posing, but also just the mood and ambiance is just completely different as well. Instead of that serious runway where you get that 1 minute to look at the clothes, you have a leisurely time where you're kind of viewing it as a work of art. And I always believe that clothes, especially designer clothes, are works of art. Like, we spend so much time making these, we design them from start to finish, so they should be viewed like works of art. And so this really gives a chance for the consumer to experience it in that light.
Yeah, I've always loved like fashion as an art form. So I think it's really cool to like see it as like in its most artistic form. Sorry, my cat is getting in the way again. So I know last year's gallery, there was a few different there's a few different like little bonus things. Like I know there was some cotton candy and like, I don't know, just some other like special sponsors. So is there going to be any sponsors at this year's event?
Yes, we are having Boulevard sponsor this year, so there'll be drinks from Boulevard, and we are having food as well. Another staff member kind of helping us with that, so it's an in-house team, but there will be light snacks as well. And then all of the interior designers that are participating in the gallery are sponsors as well. So we have 5 fashion designers showing in the gallery that are a part of the Kansas City Fashion Week roster, and they were handpicked to be a part of this gallery. And they were partnered with sponsors to make their displays come to life. So each interior designer has worked closely with the designer to make these spaces represent who they are as designers, so who the interior designer is creatively. So it's a really cool creative collaboration between them. So a lot of sponsors go into making this event happen, but like the cotton candy and things, it just makes it all the more of a great experience, because people get to, you know, get their drinks, get their food, and then walk around and see the art. So it really makes it an immersive experience.
Awesome.
So you had mentioned what we're going to see this go around at the gallery. Could you walk us back a little bit with the history of last season was the first season and what it looked like, and then again now, like you said, the evolution. So how many designers did we have last year at Kansas City Fashion Week at this gallery? And then now we're up to 5. Walk us through that and really the thoughts and the ideas of the expansion. I know you and Tisha have worked on this closely, and it's really great to see it continue to grow. We love it as staff. But, you know, one thing, you know, that I want to give kudos to is your hard work and to Tisha's, you know, willingness and championing of this idea. So without getting too far off track, what did that look like last year compared to this year?
Well, thank you for the nice words. It is a project that's really close to my heart, so I'm excited to see it grow as well. I think I briefly mentioned this before, but just kind of the roots of the project was when Tisha and I went to New York Fashion Week and we saw a brand do a gallery presentation. And from there, I was like, Tisha, I've seen brands do this before. I think we should do it. And she totally agreed with me. She's like, I think that this is exactly what we need to do and bring it to Kansas City. I don't think, not to my knowledge, no other regional fashion weeks are doing something exactly like this. So it was really cool to be kind of the first to expand that idea outside of New York and bring it to Kansas City. And it was definitely something that we, dove in head first, and we tried to make it as cool as possible, but it was something that was very new. So with any first time event, you have bumps in the road and you have things you have to figure out. But for excuse me, for a first time event, I felt like it went very, very well. We had a great turnout last season. We ended up hosting at Weinberger Fine Art Gallery, which is an art gallery in the Crossroads. And they already had these little vignettes set up where there was like walls dividing certain sections of the gallery. So it just made it the perfect location to have different designers, because we could separate said designers in those areas. So the gallery naturally had 3 spaces, and we thought that starting with 3 designers would be a good place just to kind of test out the event, see how the Kansas City market responded to it, if people liked it, if we should continue growing with it. So we started out with 3 designers last year and 3 interior design sponsors. And it was kind of nerve-wracking because, again, we had never done this before. It was very new, but once we got the ball rolling and the interior designers were so great. We had Casey Interior Co., Mary Luther Designs, and then Dixon Contracting Services sponsor our designers, which I was one of the designers. So Gracie Key, Mozzie, and Tivana Couture were our designers last year. And so we partnered with the sponsors, and once the sponsors kind of got to interact with the designers, the fashion designers, I just knew it was going to be a good event because they were equally as excited. They wanted to make it just the best event ever. They were being very creative and wanted to make it kind of go over the top a little bit to bring that edge to the event, where it's not just a pretty space. It was really a space where that embodied that designer and brought the clothing to life, which was the whole point of the event. So we got to work closely with them, and then Weinberger, of course, had really beautiful artwork that we could use as well. So overall, I just thought everything turned out beautifully. And then we had Jay Rieger as sponsored drinks, and then Scratch KC do food for us, and of course KC Cotton Candy Co. So that was really fun to have that as an element as well. The event itself, we had a launch party for it last year to kick off Fashion Week, and I believe we had around 200 attendees, if not more, because that's just how many people RSVP'd, and then we had more to kind of show up the day of. So the gallery was packed, and I was, of course, very pleased with the turnout of the numbers, but I was honestly blown away by the fact that people came to the gallery not only to look, but they stayed. And the event was 3 hours long, so people kind of showed up, and then those same people stayed for the entirety of the event, which I didn't really expect, just because the nature of art galleries, you kind of walk in, you view them, you have a good time, and you stay maybe like 30 to 40 minutes, and then you go about your day. People really seemed to have a great time, which was uplifting and just amazing. I wanted as many people to see and experience this gallery as possible. So the fact that people responded to it so well was, it was just an incredible experience. So we knew that after the past gallery, Tisha and I were like, okay, well, we have to do it again. And Tisha was very, very supportive of the idea. And of course, we kind of came to this idea together as a team after New York Fashion Week. So her support was very strong, and she wanted me to continue to plan the event and do it for this next season. So we moved forward with that, and we decided to go with a different venue this season to keep things fresh. And for the fall, we wanted something a little bit more rustic looking, or just a little bit darker looking, because the venue for the last event was very clean cut. It was for spring. It had lots of natural light and things coming. So we wanted for the fall to just kind of have a little bit of a scenery change. So we are doing it at Dane Fabrication this year. The owner, Jason, he's awesome. He is a metal worker in Kansas City, and he works closely with a lot of interior designers, and he did help with our last gallery project as well. So he offered for us to kind of tour his showroom and see if we can make it work. And we toured it. It was perfect. It had some exposed brick in places. And And it has, yeah, it's just a very beautiful and open space. So it was perfect to have kind of that darker feel for fall and bring a little bit of edge to the fall collections with the exposed brick and the almost rustic looking interior. And then we had him build separating walls. So we kind of transformed the space to look like an art gallery, just like the gallery from last year. And then we decided to have 5 designers this year. And those designers are, I'm participating again, so Gracie Key, Jeannie Nuage, Architecture Clothing, Wearing It Design, and Lucia Sarto. So those are the designers that are participating this year. They're all wonderful, and we all bring something very different to the table, which I love because each setup, each gallery display can be so different, which makes it all the more fun because you're kind of really transported into that designer's vision everywhere you look. It's just a new vision. So I'm really excited to see it all come together. We're in the process of putting it together this week, and the event is on Sunday, which I can't believe it. It's very fast, but I feel like this year we have more people, we have a different space. We're still getting so much interest in the event, which is amazing. So I'm hoping that the launch event goes even better than last.
Awesome. So for anybody who's listening and wants to come see this gallery this year, how can they get tickets and how can they come? How can they find us?
They can get tickets on the Kansas City Fashion Week website under the ticket link, and it is the one that says Designer Presentation Gallery, and it's on Sunday, September 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. The gallery will be open at different points throughout the week of Fashion Week as well if you can't make it on Sunday. Tickets are $10 and they benefit the Fashion Arts Fund. So make sure to sign up and get your tickets, and we will see you on Sunday.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, that's really exciting and super excited to hear again about the growth and where it's going to be. And next year, maybe we'll have to see an increase of maybe 2 more designers get to 7. I'm not trying to plan it for you, but, definitely being an optimist and, seeing the growth and seeing, like you said, the buy-in from the fashion community is huge. So kudos to you and the team, because it takes a lot. Of everyone that you've been working with. I'm excited to see it, and I know for sure a couple of my family members said that they're going to make sure to show up. So I'm there all day.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, Shaley, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, how can our audience find you on social media?
You can find me at Gracie Key Designs on Instagram and on Facebook. That's where you can find me and my designs. Go follow me, I post, and we have a good time, especially during Fashion Week.
And you will be a designer this year. What night are you showing, Gracie?
I am showing on Saturday, September 23rd. So you'll be able to see my full collection that night. At the gallery, I'm just showing 4 pieces. So you'll get a little taste of what my collection will entail. But the full collection will be debuted on Saturday, September 23rd.
Awesome. I can't wait to see it.
That is awesome. Well, before Shaley takes us home to wrap up this episode here, again, thank you, Gracie, for taking the time to be with us. And for everyone that tuned in and is listening, make sure that you go to the gallery, go to our garden party. That's going to be on the 16th. We have our moonlight party at 3 Light on the 16th as well. And then we also have our after party on the 16th. So a full day of partying with the Kansas City Fashion Week crew on September 16th, turning back around, and we're going to go have a good time and be immersed with art and being able to see everyone and their sneak peeks of the designs. So super excited. Shaley?
Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming and listening to our first ever Zoom podcast episode. You'll continue to see us in different formats based on the week, but we are committed to getting you an episode every single Wednesday morning. So thank you all. Follow us at Fashion Hive Podcast on Instagram. You will see us posting and you'll see us at Fashion Week this year, September 20th through 23rd.